Welcome back to Yogaxpress. It's about moving breath and body to still the mind. My name is Bani Suresh. I'm your host for the program. I know Jeffrey is looking at me wondering when did this tagline get changed? I just added it because I know, Jeffrey, you had planned to teach us some breathing techniques today. So it's also about moving the breath within our body. I'm going to save our special guest teacher for last. I'd like to introduce our crew first. In the control room, we have Isaiah Seabury. I'm going to use my little cheat sheet. Isaiah Seabury, we have William Cooper, Samara Bradley, and Angela Vesido. Thank you so much, guys. And thanks also to our facilitator, Brian Breton, for making us look so good out here. When I say us, our team right here on the mat, to my immediate right, we have Susan McNamara. Susan is a gentle yoga teacher. You're a gentle person as well, but you also teach gentle yoga, chair yoga, and chair yoga. Susan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
To my extreme left, we have Judy Jacob. Judy has been in the very first episode of Yogaxpress, but she's also been in several other episodes since then. So Judy, at the end of this episode, you might want to tell us if you see a big difference between the first one and 619. Now, to my immediate left, we have our special guest teacher, Jeffrey Scott Duval. Jeffrey was also my teacher trainer in my training class when I did my teacher training. And Jeffrey, I have to say, your classes were amazing. Just the way Jeffrey moves around, the fluid dance moves that you have, also the passion with which Jeffrey conducts his classes and teaches. You also teach really well, but also you know what it takes to get all those emotions out through your teaching. So Jeffrey, remind us a little more about what you've been up to. Also, whenever possible, please, our crew, if you can get Jeffrey's contact details, his credits up there. What else have you been up to since the last time we had you on the show?
Oh, like a report. I have been
You've been teaching a lot lately.
working on some videos, some yoga videos.
Oh, very nice.
But
Okay.
I don't think I'm allowed to share them yet because they might be part of something bigger.
Understood. Okay.
But it's.
We won't give all the secrets away.
But I've enjoyed actually using the camera as a way to kind of check out my practice, like from a subjective, is it subjective or objective? Well, or subjective point of view. And then it's so maybe you'll
We'd
find
love
some
to see it
videos.
whenever you're ready with those videos out there.
Yeah.
Look up Jeffrey scottduval.yoga. I don't know how you managed to get the .yoga, but that is such a cool website.
I'm a millennial
web name.
at heart.
You're a millennial. No, that's great. Also, Jeffrey's on Facebook
born
and
in
Instagram.
1989.
No, that was really good, actually. .yoga is very hard to get, right?
I don't know.
Jeffrey Scott Duval on Facebook and Instagram as well, at Jeffrey Duval. So those are your social media handles. What do you have planned for us today?
We are going to enjoy a simple practice consisting of some pranayama
Okay.
and then some yoga poses that will help open up the hips and make you feel relaxed.
We've got about 24 minutes of practice with you. Why don't you spend about 30 seconds telling our viewers what exactly is pranayama?
That's a great question. So
No, help them understand. You don't have to go into too
pranayama is when we're talking about pranayama, we're most likely talking about the breath.
Okay.
We're also talking about a layer of the body that's nested within 5 layers. So
Is it talking koshas?
the koshas, yeah. So there's the physical body that you can touch and feel and perceive with. And then the pranamaya yoga, or the pranamaya kosha is the breath layer that wraps around the physical body. And then that goes to the mind, and then the wisdom, and then the bliss. So hopefully we're thinking about all those dimensions in our practice and not staying limited to the physical body because there's much more to that, as you probably know and
Just
feel.
as I promised our viewers on Twitter too, I have a small, very tiny following on Twitter right now. I promised them they could come in with a yoga mat and ID, and they'll go out walking on cloud 9. So we are expecting to do that today.
Okay, so let's get started
Okay.
by chanting the sound of Om. So the sound of Om is, you heard that beautiful part in the beginning.
Yes.
The sound of Om is the sound of all things. It's also the sound of nothing. It's the full container of everything, but it's also the way to let go of really everything, right? So the sound of Om is traditionally chanted before longer mantras, but as householders, meaning you and I are doing a simplified practice, we don't have 3 hours to chant mantra. We're just going to do the universal sound of Om, which opens the portal or connection to the divine. So we'll bring our hands to heart center, and we'll chant Om, deep breath in. Good. Inhale again. So just take a moment to feel and sense your breath flowing in and out through the nose. Your hands can stay at heart center, or you can relax your hands on your thighs. If you're at home, you can just sit tall in your chair or sit at the edge of the couch and really lift up through the spine so that you can feel your lungs fully expand and fully contract as you exhale. So we'll start with the first breath, which is Ujjayi breath. So you're going to start to constrict the back of your throat to make that sound of the ocean, the back of your throat. So as you inhale and exhale through the nose, you're making an audible sound. It sounds like the waves on an ocean, or when you pick up a shell, you can hear the echo of the sea. And this is a wonderful warming breath. It helps prepare the prana to be absorbed by your whole system. And if you're a little cold, you can turn the volume up. But if you're warm, you can turn the volume down, right? So we're modulating the breath. The next part of that is to create an even inhale, an even exhale. So as you breathe in, you're filling the lungs, and as you exhale, you're releasing the breath. So let's enjoy a few more rounds of that Ujjayi breath. It might not look like a lot is going on, but there's actually a lot of energy that's shifting inside your body. And this is the awakening of the intelligence of your breath that's vital for a balanced yoga practice. Good. So now go ahead and exhale through your mouth. And then we'll make a peace sign. So we'll take our right hand, making a peace sign. And take your peace sign to the third eye. You can sit either on your knees or cross-legged. So this is alternate nostril breath. So you're going to plug the right nostril, inhale into the left, then plug the left and exhale right. And then keep going back and forth, inhaling, and then switch to exhale. You only want to use your thumb and ring finger, and you're feeling the exchange between the right nostril, which is the connection to the sun, and the left nostril, which is the connection to the moon. The idea behind this is we both have the energy of an inner sun and an inner moon, and we want them to balance like night and day, winter, summer, light and dark. Right? So we're balancing the energy in our system. As essentially balancing the nervous system, right? The parasympathetic nervous system, which is associated with the right, and then the sympathetic nervous system, which is the part of our nervous system that governs relaxation, sleep cycles, and also digestion. So enjoy a few more rounds. Start to feel that subtle shift in your nervous system. Continuing to lift up through your crown, shoulders rolling back. And then you'll complete the cycle by breathing out of the left side. And then you can take both hands down and enjoy your breath through both nostrils. Feel that awakening of both the right and the left side of your body, balancing in the central column of the Sushumna Nadi, which is the energizing staff of the spine. So everyone around me looks pretty content. I think it worked. I hope it worked for you. You can also just Google alternate nostril breath. It's pretty simple. And anybody, almost anybody can do that if you're pregnant or it has very few contraindications. So it can be enjoyed by all. Yeah.
Especially when you have a cold, as I do.
Especially when you have a cold. Yeah, good.
It's unblocking my channels.
Yeah, good. So we're going to get a little bit of movement going on now, right? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
So let's start by coming onto hands and knees. And just pretend that you're like a cat or a dog, and you're about to make a little bed for yourself. So you know when you see cats, they kind of do this movement, like with their claws.
Never really noticed. That's interesting. I'm gonna
So you want to, at least my cats do this, right? So they kind of claw their blanket. So you want to have this action in your hands. If you don't have this kind of clawing action, then if you're just pressing into your hands, you're going to potentially close off the wrist, right? So you want to really feel your hands as powerful tools to support your arms and powerful tools to also support the shoulders, right? And then you see cats do this. So the spine starts to move and sway. And then literally cat pose is this rounding of the spine, right? And then the other way, we call it the cow, right? So you're going back and forth, rounding as you exhale. Inhaling, shifting forward. And just go back and forth on your own. So the key to vinyasa, and a lot of hatha yoga as well, is that your breath is helping to guide the movement, right? So as the breath begins, the movement begins. And as the breath ends, then the movement ends, right? So this way we can ensure that we're moving not just from a limited place up here, but we're keeping the body and the breath as one. They need to stay together in the practice. As soon as the mind jumps the breath or the body, we get into trouble, right? Because the ego can take over. Oh, I want to do this crazy yoga pose, but you might not be ready. So we'll always go through the beginning portals. Always do a good warm-up every time you practice. Even if you think you're amazing, right? You need to get back into the basic pattern. And then make sure it feels good, right? So do we all feel good?
Yes. Feels good.
Happy spines?
Happy spine.
And happy hands.
Happy hands.
Good. So we're going to make our way into a down dog. So press your claws, lift your hips up and back.
And press your claws.
And relax. Relax your head. And don't be afraid now to move here. So you can pedal your feet. And start to feel the opening in the front of the chest. Stretching back through the hips. And now let's walk our hands back towards the feet. And then you can bend your knees and roll up to stands. And then the hands can come to heart center. So our first pose is very simple. It's just standing. So the reason why standing is important is because it grounds the nervous system. Very rarely do you see people standing around on the street like this, right? Because people are looking all over, and we have Times Square, right? So it's very powerful. I don't suggest doing this in Times Square, but it's very powerful to just stop and be still and imagine you are on top of a beautiful mountain, and you can look down in your mind's eye and see all of creation, right? So you're uniting heaven and earth, right, through the portal of Tadasana. With Tadasana comes also Samastitihi, which is an equal balance between your mind and your body, right? So your nervous system is starting to relax, you're starting to tune your senses inward, and you feel a balance between right and left, forward and back. So now just the arms. So go ahead, exhale, bring your hands down. And now as you inhale, just swing your arms straight up. Then exhale, swing your hands back. See if you can press your hands back, feel the opening in your chest. And then inhale, take your arms back up again. Now we're going to add a little dip in the knees. So as you bend your knees, reach your hands back, tilt forward slightly, and then bend the knees and come back up. This is kind of buoyant movement. It almost feels like you're in the water, and it's creating a lightness on the joints. It almost kind of looks like Tai Chi a little bit, but we're moving in this intentional way to begin to warm up the major joints in the feet, the knees, the hips, the spine, the shoulders, and it feels good, right? So you can go deeper. If you want to go deeper, you can really go down. And when you come up, you can really open your chest and lean back. So it's up to you to decide kind of where you want to be in terms of the range of movement. So if you're feeling more stiff or more conservative, you can stay in the baby pool, the kiddie pool. Or if you want to hit the slopes, right, you're going to go deeper and feel that full spectrum movement.
Good preparation for my ski vacation.
Yes. So the idea is we just find one movement and then we keep doing it. So we get this thing that my teacher calls entrainment, which is a term that was coined by a Dutch physicist in 1666. So it's like when you take a whole bunch of grandfather clocks and put them in one room, they start to swing together, like what we're doing now. We want to naturally be in alignment with the people around us because it takes less energy. I could start going like this, but it would take too much energy because no one would be supporting me. So I'm going to be in the same kind of ocean as they are, but you're going to be in your same energy too, right? So now let's inhale, take the arms all the way up, and then let's exhale our hands, come back to heart center. And now we're going to just bring our hands onto our hips and just start to sink. We're going to sink into one hip as you turn your right leg out. So it looks like we're about to do Saturday Night Live Fever. But do you feel that opening in the hip? Does it feel good?
On this side, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Left side.
So you're kind of sticking the hip out. And then you're going to come back to center. And then you're going to lean to the other side. So it almost looks like a disco dance, but we're going slow. So exhale.
Classical Indian dance by any chance, did you?
I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a few of these.
Yeah, it almost feels like we're gonna do La Balia. Okay. Come up. And exhale, shift. So this is the kind of stuff I do like if I'm stiff or if you're waiting in line. You're just kind of stretching through the outer hip. Right? You guys look great. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Okay. Now we're going to up the ante. So this is going to be a little bit more stimulating. Are you ready?
Ready, Judy? Ready.
So we're going to go back into the water.
I know, Susan's always ready.
Remember this movement?
Yes.
Exhale, down. Now, as you inhale, lift one knee. Let's start with lifting our right knee, if you can. Then exhale, feet together. Now try lifting your other knee. And exhale. And then go back and forth. So if this is tricky, you can just lift the heel, or you can keep both heels down. You don't have to lift the legs. Exhaling down. And then try lifting the other heel, or coming up, lifting the knee, and then flowing down. So by intentionally shifting to one leg, you're going to strengthen that standing hip. It's almost like we're walking in slow motion, but with an exaggerated sense of movement. I like to feel like I'm on the moon, and every step you take, you can move like a half a block. Wouldn't that be great? Be perfect for when you're late to Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and right, you just fly across, right? So you can use your imagination, and this is where we start to integrate the mind. So as you do this kind of movement, what kind of leaps and bounds are you jumping over? What kind of obstacles might you be facing in your life? And literally visualize yourself just leaping and bounding over your obstacles, that you have this kind of Hanuman super strength, leaping across buildings, leaping over hurdles, jumping through red tape, getting corporate sponsors, whatever it is.
I'd like to learn that trick.
Yeah. And we'll enjoy one more time. You guys are good balancers. So I just want to say, if you're shaking like that, it's okay. Keep trying. Now let's take the hands down. Now we're going to step the feet wide. Bring your hands onto your shoulders. And just slowly start to twist from side to side. This should feel really good.
It does. I think that preparation you did was really helpful.
Oh yeah?
How you twisted with the hip. I told you about the Indian dance.
Oh, this one, yeah.
That's helping me, definitely.
Good.
I didn't think I could go deep enough. It feels good.
Yeah. So it's nice when you're twisting to not just have to hold one side, because then you can get stiff. But when you're alternating or oscillating, it starts to free the energy, right? So I'm going to go faster, but you can stay slow. And if you need to, you can just look straight ahead and just move from your shoulders. If you were pregnant, you could just move your shoulders. You wouldn't have to do the twist, right? So we call this Agni Kriya, which stimulates the fire in the belly. And this is a great warm-up to do. It's also a lot of fun, right? And it kind of feels like you're at a rave.
You know?
A rave.
Oh.
Dance, like a dance party.
Oh.
So this is I learned this from Yoga Trance Dance. This is one of our kriyas that we do. And it's borrowed from the Kundalini tradition. Then we're going to slowly wind down and make your way back to the back of the mat. Now let's go into our namaskar. So let's inhale, lift the arms up. Now exhale, you can bend your knees if you need to. Fold forward over the legs. touch the earth. Walk yourself forward to plank. And we're gonna go all the way down.
That's not happening. Can I bring the knees down?
Yeah. And take your forehead down. We'll go all the way down. And make sure your head is relaxing. So again, this might not look like yoga, but this is good for the mind. And it's really good for the neck. Now we're gonna come up into Cobra. So bring your hands under your shoulders.
How are we doing for time, guys? How much time do we have left? Okay.
Roll those shoulders back.
Much longer time than we expect.
Push back onto all fours.
1 minute. Okay.
And let's come back to sit.
Those of you out there who are watching us, check Jeffrey out, jeffreyscottduval.yoga. Jeffrey, thank you. That was a very simple but high energy
Nice little
workout. I
warm-up.
really loved it.
Thank you,
Felt
You guys
really
are
Thank
great.
you very much.
On behalf of Judy Jacob and Susan McNamara and our amazing crew in the back, we have Samara Bradley, we've got Isaiah Seabury, William Cooper, and Angela Vesido, and of course Brian Breton, our facilitator. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. That was
Thank
a
you.
great workout. If you want to watch us, 7:30 to 8 a.m. Monday mornings, Time Warner 56, RCN 83, FiOS 34. And if you need a different time to watch, write into mnn.org. You can always write to our program director. Looks like we haven't got the cue to wrap up, so I think we're good. Do we keep going till we get any final words of advice, Jeffrey, for our viewers out there?
Always find a good way to end your practice. So you
Right.
don't want to just do yoga and then go over to your phone. So why don't we can chant Om if you want.
Yeah.
So let's bring our hands back again. And we'll
We
chant
good? We can keep going?
Om one time. Deep breath in. Namaste. Thanks so
Very
much.
relaxing, very calm. Judy, feedback? How do you feel?
Oh, I
You can
feel
tell by the beam
wonderful.
on Judy's
I
face. She
feel
felt really good.
wonderful.
It
My
feels good,
goodness,
right?
very
No, I
gentle,
liked it.
stretching,
I liked
wonderful.
You didn't
like
know
the
what to
wave.
expect, right?
I like the wave too. It
And
felt
I'm
really
gonna use
good.
that. And I've never had my hands here, but I've had them here. And
Oh, yeah.
Kundalini.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kundalini
Right.
going
Yeah.
really fast.
Really fast. Yeah.
And looking straight ahead. I completely
Yeah.
forgot about that.
So, quick question while our credits are rolling. When we move side to side, do we move from the hip or it's just the shoulders?
You can move just from your shoulders,
Shoulders,
if
okay.
you want to, if you have any hip or
Right,
knee
right.
issues.
Which is more effective in case.
But if you really get into it, you can really it's like
the whole
the
hip.
whole
Okay.
thing is.
Okay.
And I was going to say, would you bend your knees too? Or
You
no?
can bend your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it feels good, that there's like a kind of a swiveling action that goes
Right.
on.